All right, guys, welcome back. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we're going to be taking some shots through the Desert Tech MDR. Go ahead and shoot a mag and we'll gather some thoughts about this thing, tell you a little bit about it. Really cool modular rifle. Let's get into it. And it is a bullpup, son. All right.
100?
Hundo.
Hundo.
I'm going to aim at the bolt.
Sure thing.
Okay. 200?
0.4 mils.
0.4.
0.4. Perfect elevation. Dead nuts.
250?
0.8.
0.8. I'm gonna aim at the, let me see if I can hit the head on that target at 250.
Sure thing.
0.8.
0.8.
Let me shoot 3.
That went right over the shoulder. You're favoring a little bit lower than the head. You're all in there.
All right. Finish out at 3.
Yep, 1.1.
1.1. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. It didn't lock the bolt back. We're going to talk about that in just a moment here. You ever see the old show with, what was it, the Chef Justin?
Justin Wilson, boy.
Justin Wilson. Everybody young enough to remember that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he would look down in that pot and have the steam coming out and he would go, what would he say? Life is good, or something like that. Anyway, all right. Very cool stuff. Quite accurate. Desert Tech makes some really great rifles, and you know, we've done some stuff with their bolt guns in the past. I've dealt with their 50 cal, their 308, which of course has a ton of different barrel change options and everything. Desert Tech decided to stick with the same type of program when they went on to design and implement. Watch this. Oh, okay, I thought there was still a piece of brass in the chute. Well, that was rather anticlimactic, wasn't it? But they decided to kind of stick to the same regimen and offer a truly modular rifle system. And they chose a bullpup, when they went on to do a semi-automatic version. It is completely ambidextrous. You have safety selectors that can be operated from both sides of the rifle. Obviously, it is a bullpup, a piston-driven system. This is the Generation 2 6-position gas system, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. It does have a full pick rail on top. Nice, comfortable cheek rest here. You've got the charging handle, can be locked up into the rear from either position, so it doesn't matter. Whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The magazine release can be reached from either side of the rifle, so it is truly ambidextrous. The trigger on this rifle is fantastic. Probably breaks around 4.5 pounds. I haven't actually had a chance to get a trigger gauge on it, but it's nice and clean and crisp with a really smooth break and a nice gentle take up. And for a bullpup, which bullpups are known for having bad triggers, the trigger is actually quite nice, okay?
Reminds me of like a nice K31 trigger, honestly. Like a really good military trigger.
It really does. You know what? The trigger on this rifle reminded me most of the Sako TRG-42.
Yeah.
How it has that sort of almost spongy take-up, but it's got this sort of rigid stop, and then it just breaks nice and clean, just like a Sako TRG-42. I know that's a weird rifle folks may not be familiar with, but it actually does remind me of a very nice, you know, let's just say duty weight bolt gun trigger, which is wonderful. One of the most interesting features of this rifle is not only can it be changed into other calibers, you can do a 5.56 conversion and use the same chassis and run 5.56. Now we're running 308. So that's the cool thing about this, is that you can run 308 and 5.56 in the same platform. We're running a SDN6 from AAC on the end of this rifle. Now, we're also running the Primary Arms AAC Griffin mill, which is a new optic for PA, and we're tracking in true mils. It is a very simplified and excellent Christmas tree style reticle from AAC. Listen to me, AAC, ACSS, all these acronyms and abbreviations have to throw all this kind of stuff in the mix, but it is a new reticle for ACSS and Primary Arms. We're gonna be doing a full review on this optic later, so enough about the optic, but I wanted to mention what we're running. Another interesting feature of this rifle is the ambidextrous ejection that can be swapped out simply by moving the port cover over. You notice that it is a forward ejecting rifle and the brass is ejecting right out here to my front. It will actually fire without the port cover in place. There were some people that were getting a hold of these rifles and they were having a little bit of, let's just say, difficulty with ejection. That primarily comes back to the early gas systems on these were like a 3-position, and some people weren't really getting the gun to run super reliably with, especially with, unless they ran a suppressor, but unsuppressed, they were having a hard time with ejection and everything. One field expedient thing you can do, if the rifle ever does experience ejection issues, you can pull this port cover off completely and the rifle will still eject like normal if you wish, but it is designed to be forward ejecting. You basically just swap these guys out back here. Of course, this one's pretty tight. Okay, that's your ejector. So see, I could swap this over to the left side of the gun and put the port cover on, or the ejection port on this side, and it'll eject out the left. So if you're a left-handed shooter, you can do that, and it's just a simple thing. You literally are just changing it out. Really cool. So we're gonna leave it obviously in right-handed mode because we're righties here. And then it has a dust cover. So you have a truly ambidextrous rifle platform that can shoot 5.56 and 308. Now, it hasn't been without its share of growing pains. You know, I know Ian, Forgotten Weapons, good friend of ours. You should check out his channel. He's a great dude. They're just wonderful people over there. Ian had some issues out of one of the early Desert Tech MDRs, and he was experiencing some, I think, ejection issues. So they then offered I don't want to say an upgrade, but they changed the gas ports on these. So this is the 6-position gas port. From what I understand, okay, what we ran into, right now it's set to position 6. On position 5, unsuppressed, we were having some ejection issues as well. It was only until we added that additional blowback and that additional, I suppose, dwell time or pressure that you would get from having the suppressor, was it that ours will now run on position 5 and 6 with the suppressor. You notice there on that initial magazine here we shot in the intro that the bolt did not lock to the rear on the last round, and that's with the suppressor and with the gas position on 6. So as if, and I promise this is leading somewhere, as if it's not complicated enough, Desert Tech has gone to a version 3 of the gas system that will hopefully alleviate all the above problems that people may have been having. And I'm assuming that it's probably going to be a retrofit upgrade that they can just send you the correct plug and you're good to go. These rifles do represent a considerable investment. They're not inexpensive. However, they are very high quality. In the accuracy department, quite good. You know, we were averaging, you know, what did we end up determining our average was on the ball and the match ammo, Chad?
Well, the ball was right around like 2 minutes. And the match ammo was just below 3 MOA with a 175 grain Match King.
All right, so we were only able to test a couple of varieties of ammunition. We had some MEM ball, which is 147 grain NATO spec ball ammunition, which appears to be delivering about 2 MOA, which is certainly great for a battle rifle and especially is great for a bullpup. Okay, the 175, this is a 1 in 10 twist barrel with a 5/8 by 24 thread pitch on the front. We did find the 175s don't quite shoot as well. It's only one variety of ammunition in terms of match ammo, but we found that the ball actually outshot the match ammo, oddly enough. Sadly, I didn't have any 168 Match Kings laying around to try out, but hey, in my book, if the gun can deliver 2 minutes out of ball, I say that's awesome, okay? So where would a rifle like this really fit in with people? Well, for me personally, I think it would make one heck of a hunting rifle. If you want a short, compact pig rifle to take out pig hunting, granted, it is an expensive option, but it can be done. It would definitely excel as a hunting rifle, just due to the fact its compact size and light handling characteristics just make for a wonderful type of setup for an outdoorsman, personal defense, a great truck gun, obviously patrol or duty rifle. It could certainly fill that role quite well. Dare I say, even medium range DMR work could even be accomplished with this particular rifle. Earlier we were getting, logging hits on the Gopher at 300 yards, which we're going to try again here in a moment. One other tiny point that I want to mention about it, and just from our experience, we've been shooting it a good bit. It's been pretty reliable, but without the suppressor on it, a little bit of feeding, a little bit of issues with ejection. Feeding's fine. Ejection's been a bit of an issue without the can. Now, we like to run a lot of our stuff suppressed. One other thing I want to mention, and this is, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I just want to mention it. The muzzle device is a very, very low profile muzzle device and does not have flats on it. So if you're going to remove the muzzle device from this rifle to put a suppressor on it, it is threaded 5/8 by 24. However, you're going to need probably, I think we wound up using an AAC tool to be able to get that particular muzzle device off of the rifle. And guys, they're on there.
Well, we used a little bit of, I put a torch on it, heated it up, melted Loctite or whatever else they had on there off.
Sure.
Used the AAC tool, it fit right in there, and wrenched it right off of there.
So my suggestion would be, guys, if you're going to pull the muzzle device off to suppress it, which it sounds great suppressed. It's a tiny bit gassy, but I would imagine with the version 3 gas plug upgrade that they're going to offer more positions to be able to tune the gun in just right, or they're going to fine tune the actual positions themselves to be able to just make it where you can really tune it in just right. Really suppressing these is great. They sound wonderful at the ear. They're not loud at all. They're set up to take PMags. This is a 20 round PMag we ran in the intro. We're also going to try a 25 shot Lancer L5 mag, all right? Because this tan, it matches, because, that matters, right? Let's go ahead and shoot a few more rounds. The gun is definitely accurate. I've been very pleased with the accuracy. Certainly a rifle that you could take out and plug a pig with, or a deer if you want a nice compact hunting rifle. It's got power with the 30 caliber going down range. I love 308, so this is cool.
Hey, real quick before you get started shooting.
Sure.
I just want to mention real quick that, Ian and Carl's In Range video, the CEO of Desert Tech actually put out a video detailing all the problems that they were having and really laid out the groundwork. It's like, hey, we know that there's an issue with the gas system.
Sure.
And this is what we tested with. There could have been lot changes in the ammunition or whatever, because all they used was the MEN, like M80 ball. And they came out, they addressed the problem, and they're fixing the problem. They're warranting anybody's guns. I think that's very commendable for a company to come out and do that, because they really do want to see that rifle succeed. And I do too. I really like it.
I really like this rifle too. And one thing I want to mention too is, anytime you have a newer rifle that comes out, there's going to be some growing pains, right? Remember the Kel-Tec RFB? When it came out, it had its share of minor growing pains, and they've addressed those things and moved on, right? When even the Ruger precision rifle, when it came out, early Ruger precision rifles had their share of problems. Guys, new products are gonna, have their gremlins that, poke their head out. So I'm not gonna be so quick to discount the platform just because of some of the issues that Ian was having, even though I have experienced the same issues, so I can back up what Ian and Carl have dealt with. Not only Ian and Carl, but some of the issues that Tim Harmson was having at Military Arms Channel, another great channel you should check out, by the way. Tim's a great dude. I can mirror that we've all been having the same type of problem, but that the company's making a very awesome and genuine effort to make all of us right. And anytime you have a brand new rifle, a brand new platform, there's going to be a share of minor issues. But I wanted to make those issues known to make sure people know. And guys, Desert Tech's a higher end gun, right? This is not a cheap rifle. I want to say these are around 32 to 36 in that ballpark. They might be, don't quote me on that, but basically it is a very high-end gun. Desert Tech makes professional rifles, you know what I mean, for professional solutions, for professional needs, and you know, it is a high-end gun. All right, let's shoot it a little bit more. You know, am I going to be melting down my scar anytime soon? Maybe not. I would say in terms of quality of construction, engineering, aesthetics, feel, weight, and everything like that, really the Scar is about the only gun that I would pit against this in terms of just overall aesthetics, you know, the carrying factor, the way it carries, the weight, maybe a Bren 805, but whether you go with like a CZ Bren 805 or something like that, or whether you go with like a Scar, you're not gonna have the interchangeability of caliber. So there are ways that it wins in some areas, and then there are ways that it maybe loses a few points. So that's for you guys to decide. That's your opinion, but that you'll obviously have to take to the bank on your own there. Just trying to kind of lay out what I see. That's all I can do. Let's shoot it some. And the optic is running wonderfully here. All righty. Let's try our Coyote first. What do you think?
Go for it.
I'm just going to go for right in the boiler room.
Right on it. Right over the top of his back with that shot. Oh, you took out his leg. Oh, you took out his other leg.
All right, let's try our gopher again.
Right in the face. Just in front of his belly there. Got him. Just in front of his belly. Got it. Right behind his back. Just in front of him again. Impact. Impact. Just in front of his chest. Same place, just in front of his chest. Just behind his head.
Wow. I mean, the thing shoots exceptionally well.
Now remember, that target's like just less than about a 2 MOA target.
Let me post a group kind of up towards the top of the other gong.
Okay.
See if I can, I mean, she's warming up a bit. Let's see.
Yeah, you're right at the top of the gong at 12 o'clock there.
Again, the bolt did not lock to the rear.
That's crazy, because
it's running.
When we set it on 6 the other day when we were grouping, it was functioning fine.
Yep.
I don't know what's changed.
All right, so it's running the P-Mags. All right, let's try the Lancer. This is one that I picked up at Moss. It was just, thought it was kind of cool. I mean, let's give it a try. The only thing I notice about this mag, it does wobble a little bit, and gosh, it does stick out a long way, doesn't it? Not quite so handy from the bench. That rear pin walk out a couple of times. That's your takedown pin in the back. I've noticed it's tried to walk out just a little bit here and there. There are certainly a couple of minor growing pains that are being addressed about this rifle, and we're definitely trying to make sure you guys understand where we're coming from, but I am very pleased with this rifle so far, and I've got faith that they're gonna, you know, work it out and make this thing come full circle. I've been following this particular rifle now since it was first introduced at SHOT Show. Gosh, back in what, 2017 or 16?
No, God, it was one of the first years we went to SHOT. It was like 2014 or 2015, I think.
So I've handled a lot of the initial prototypes of this rifle. I mean, even back when it was a 3D printed chassis and everything, and it was just a concept. I mean, I've seen this rifle kind of take shape from the very beginning of its original development, and it's cool to actually have a functional example in our hands to look at right now and everything. I think it's a very neat rifle. One other thing I do want to mention, it is very rough on brass. Okay, you do have some considerable swipe that is put on the brass and everything. Now we are shooting suppressed, but it is a little bit rough on brass. So for some of you hand loaders out there, now I don't know if maybe pulling the ejection port cover off. I tell you what, why don't we shoot it without the cover on?
Yeah, see
if the brass isn't damaged as bad.
We'll see if the brass is less damaged, but also see if maybe it'll lock to the rear like it should.
Okay, so for this experiment, we're gonna pull off the port cover and we're gonna inspect the brass. Now, also we wanna see where it throws the brass when the port cover's off, but we also wanna see if the bolt will lock to the rear. Okay, 25 more rounds. Running good.
You're just gonna shoot 3?
Yeah.
Bring your point of aim down just slightly so you're not hitting so high, and maybe shoot that group on that big plate.
You got it.
Yeah, well, you're right in there with the other group. That's fine. Woo, now that one kind of flew way over to the left there.
Shooting a pretty decent group. I pulled one shot.
That one shot, yeah, went kind of way high and left. That thing is slinging brass.
Yeah, and I do want to note that it's very loud at the ear without the port cover on. And I am getting a little bit more gas on my face. Is it damaging the brass as bad?
Not as bad.
All right, last shot of the mag, and the bolt locked to the rear. So it locks to the rear without the, thank you.
Yep.
And
yeah, I noticed
it appears that the brass, it does kind of ding the brass up a little bit.
It doesn't have that long streak down the body of the case though.
You know, I'm just gonna say, I really, really like this rifle, man. I do. Chad spent a good bit of time zeroing this rifle and kind of dialing it in and collecting some chronograph data. You know, we were shooting some groups with it. And I think very highly of it. I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think it's gonna wind up being a good rifle for them once they work out some of the growing pains. And guys, let's face it, rifles have growing pains, you know, just like anything else. And when you have a new design, one thing I can say about Desert Tech is they've done a great job of really innovating and coming up with some really cool next level products. And they're very proud of their products, and for good reason, because they produce some really cool technology with what they're dealing with. So, you know, I know there's sort of a lot of hatred that gets floating around about bullpups, and look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of those people. Like I've grown to be less than fond of bullpups. You know, I've gone through the Keltec RFB thing. I haven't really had a chance to run the RDB that much. That's probably something I'm gonna try to check out in a future video, but we've run the RFB a good bit. And to be honest, I wasn't really impressed with the accuracy. However, now, to be fair, our buddy Dan has an RFB and his shoots a living daylights out. So I don't know if maybe mine just wasn't as good or what the heck ever, I don't know, but I've dealt with RFBs that shoot well, I've dealt with some that don't shoot well. I mean, I've owned the X95 and the original TAR-21 Tavor. Both those guns I got rid of because I wasn't happy with the accuracy of the bullpup. I mean, I upgraded to the Geisley trigger, put the Sabra lightning bow in it, all of that. And even with like 69 grain match ammo, the best the gun could do on a good day was maybe a 3 or 4 inch group.
Not even the
not even that, really.
The 77 grain, the open tip match, the Mark 262 ammo.
Right.
We tested it, and it was like 3 or 4 minutes.
That's not, yeah.
When a rifle like this is shooting two MOA with ball ammo, I mean, that's very, very impressive to me.
I think that what we'll probably wind up doing in a future video, I think we want to take this rifle out to 600. I mean, it's shooting what, from where I can tell, other than, you know, if I'm jerking the trigger here and there, I might have pulled one shot, but I just put 25 shots into a relatively tight string there. Looks like maybe about an 8-inch group to me.
Well, you started out around like 2 MOA, around like 6 inches. You had that one flyer, and then by the time you got done with the mag, it probably opened up to about 3 or 4 MOA. That's about a 12-inch group down there right now.
Right.
So,
but, I mean, I'm not exactly shooting slow.
No, and that's a 16-inch barrel too, and a bullpup. I mean, that's pretty dang good to me.
Yeah.
Personally.
I don't know. I think that the biggest takeaway, what I'm getting at, is that with bullpups, it seems like the big dig on them that people hate about them has been the accuracy department, whether the trigger just isn't good and people don't like the triggers because they tend to be spongy because of the linkage and that whole relationship, or because of the way the barrel mounts, if it just affects the accuracy and they just don't tend to be as accurate. I'm not sure why, but it just seems that bullpups have issues in that department. In my opinion, I think this is a great rifle, and I think it's going to go places and it's going to do really well for them once they work out the quirks, which they will. They're presently doing it at the time of this video, and we wanted to make a video just to kind of show this rifle off, have a little bit of fun with it, and give you some of our initial thoughts on it, and share some of our data that we've collected, and just kind of show you that ours is working well and everything, and sort of give you, you know, some opinions. Take it for what you will. But I do like the rifle. I think it's cool. I think it's going to do some great things for them. I was excited as heck when I knew that this rifle was actually going to be a real thing when I saw the prototypes. So it's really cool to see it come together. Time will tell when it comes to the caliber conversions. I would love to try one out in 5.56 with the 5.56 conversion put into this. It's so cool that you can go between 308 and 5.56 in one platform in a bullpup. That's really fun. So really cool stuff. That's one thing that Desert Tech is definitely innovating on, is the caliber conversions and the flexibility of each rifle. Yes, they are expensive, but they try to give you some flexibility with the system as well, which I think goes a long way. So guys, thanks for watching today's video. We appreciate all of you. We will revisit this particular rifle and go out to 600. Chad and I are going to do a little bit more testing with some match ammunition, maybe a little bit lighter weight. I think we're going to try some like 155 grain Lapua CNRs and maybe try running some 168 grain Federal match just to see what we end up getting.
The 150 grain Superformance might be an option too. If we're planning on hunting with it, it might be cool to try that out because it does seem to shoot better with the lighter bullet weights.
Agreed. So we'll probably need to try the 150 grain Superformance. I would say the 155 grain CNRs and the 150 grain Superformance, and if it shoots that into a minute, I will be thoroughly impressed. But 2 minutes for ball, not bad. Guys, thanks for watching today's video. We really appreciate all of you. We hope you enjoyed today's little showcase here on the MDR. It's really cool. I dig it. It's a really neat rifle. Want to take a moment to definitely thank all of our Patreon supporters. Your support is greatly appreciated. You guys allow us to continue on and to take on these kind of projects. You're wonderful. Thank you very much. Also, folks who purchase man cans, t-shirts, merchandise over on the website, anything you purchase on the website, those funds go right back into purchasing ammunition, supplies, cameras, everything we need to continue these videos. And if you love the channel and you love these videos, that's the most direct way that you can support us if you wish. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you next time. Many more videos on the way.